What up, Laker fans? D-Mac and Eric here from the Lakers 24/8 podcast. And today, a special day. We're joined by three very talented individuals. We got a very exciting project to talk about. We got Raymond Dong, the co-founder of Blank Souls. We got Cooper Zajac, Chief Communications Officer. And then none other than the former Defensive Player of the Year, NBA All-Star. He helped lead your Los Angeles Lakers to the 2010 World Championship. Of course, I'm talking about Mr. Metta Sandiford, World Peace. Welcome to the show, guys. Great to have you in here. First thing I want to say is the shoe is fire. The design of the shoe is fire. I love the look of it, the colors, how customizable it is. You guys really crushed it. You knocked it out of the park with it. But before we get into the shoe, I have to ask you, Raymond, can you please make some sense of what exactly an NFT is?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks so much, Doug, for having us. We're super blessed to be here. Appreciate the opportunity. Super excited by this collab. But to your first question directly, NFT stands for a non-fungible token. What we think of just in practical terms is a unique digital asset, kind of like a work of art, but digital form. I think the misnomer for a lot of folks is that it's an expensive JPEG. But I think the way we think about NFTs is it's so much more in terms of its potential. It acts as a membership card to a great community that we'll talk about down the road. It can act as a conduit to in real life perks, whether it's events or in our case, a super fire physical limited edition official Metta shoe. And then, onwards and onwards in terms of its potential.
Got it. So I got some understanding about NFTs. I'm sure my mom will have me explain it to her in like 2 years from now. So I'll be ready to rock and roll with that. But the next thing I want to ask you is tell me about Blank Souls. Tell me about this company and all these exciting projects you have with NFTs, basketball, sneakers. Tell me about Blank Souls.
Yeah, absolutely. So Blank Souls is the first decentralized sneaker company. We're super focused on being the on-ramp for the next 100 million people to enter the market of crypto through this intersection that we sit at between sneakers, sports, fashion, and Web3. And the way we do it is kind of one, we partner with awesome partners like Metta himself to create incredible shoe brands, leveraging our design partners and shoe designers who are the best of the best in terms of Web2 shoe design, connecting that with our Web3 mentality and experiences to bring, physical shoes, but also digital shoes into the metaverse and augmented reality. But I think more practically, we think ourselves as an opportunity for anyone, whether it's an NFT community, a metaverse, to work with us as a platform to create super awesome shoes and to join our membership and collective.
That's incredible, man. Fascinating stuff. Now, I want to ask you, Metta. Look, you have one of the most interesting sneaker histories ever. At St. John's, they were one of the few programs to be sponsored by Team Jordan. With Chicago and the Pacers, you're wearing Nikes, Jordans, Jordan 9s, Jordan 12s. Then in the 2004 All-Star Game, I'm never going to forget this, you rocked 4 different shoe brands in that game. On the left foot, you had Adidas, right foot Nike, left foot Dada, right foot And One. Did you bring the entire Foot Locker to the arena that night, Metta? And then also, you've just done a lot of different things when it comes to your sneakers. You really pushed the envelope with brands like Peak. We saw in the CBA when you were with the Blue Whales, rocking the shoe with the plush panda. To me, it was no surprise that you were going to push the envelope once again. My question to you is, what motivated you to get involved in this project with NFTs?
Yeah, what motivated me was just being extremely excited and interested in this technology. And, having the opportunity to, I'm launching my own basketball platform to help athletes become digital assets. When Blank Souls got in touch with me and talked about doing an NFT connected to a sneaker, I thought it just made perfect sense, for my basketball community that I'm working on building. And, I always want to be able to tell stories. I was also at Kicks in 2005 or 2006. I was with Ballin, another company. I had my own shoe. And I was always interested in the fact that sneaker companies can tell great stories. And, basketball players draw in people who love shoes. So this is probably one of my favorite releases because, it's given me a lot of ways to create and tell stories. And I think we got a lot of upside here. But, Blank Souls, I feel like it's definitely a company I wish that was around when I was going on my own shoe journey. I'm a creator, so I don't necessarily want, someone else creating for me. And, if I come out with a shoe, I want to tell the story behind that shoe. And I think with Blank Souls, this is the opportunity that is going to present, not only for myself, but I think these athletes that are, in their prime, in their career right now, this could be, the way to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating concept. It's so futuristic. I think it's the future, really, of basketball sneakers. And kind of my next question is, do you think that this is the future of basketball sneakers, even for brands beyond Blank Souls, for the Nikes, the Jordans, the Adidas? So will it become the standard for all these shoes to have NFTs attached to their releases, do you think?
Well, I think for sure, because this is probably going to set the tone. I know Nike just purchased another NFT company, but this is probably going to set the tone, just because they're providing a lot of creativity. Most of the time when you do a deal with a sneaker company, they take away the creativity. Even from the designs and everything. So I think this is going to provide an opportunity for people to be creative, and you'll see more and more coming.
Yeah, and then kind of my next question, you kind of touched on it a second ago about using technologies to help players kind of build their platforms. So I was going to ask you, what do you think is the biggest piece of advice that you would give young NBA players that are trying to establish their brand and market themselves in the age of social media and NFTs?
I think definitely you want to use the platforms. I think it's very valuable. I think also, you want to just stay up to date, because it's going to change so fast. Web3 is making things change even faster than it was before. So I would say, just stay up to date, use the platforms, understand your audience, and grow your own brand.
Yeah, so I mean, like, the game is changing, right? You got NFTs now, you got Staples Center turning into Crypto.com Arena. You made one of the most iconic shots in Lakers history there, Game 7, the shot where Kobe passed you the ball, the greatest post-game press conference in NBA history.
And he passed me the ball. Kobe passed me the ball.
What are your thoughts on the Staples Center changing to Crypto.com Arena?
I thought it was really interesting. Obviously, I'm a Staples Center guy because, it's a Staples Center.
Yeah.
But, changing to Crypto.com and they actually making you say the whole .com, which is really good marketing. But I think it's interesting. It's the way of the future is Web3. Web3 provides a lot of opportunity. If you're a developer, you can see it firsthand. You're developing, product right now. And if you're just into it, or if you're creative, you're probably going to experience opportunities.
Metta, one of the things I was hoping was, look, the first year of the Staples Center, Kobe and Shaq, they christened it with a title against the Pacers. I was hoping this year's team would christen it with a title for the new Crypto.com Arena. Now, I want to touch on some basketball topics. We're going to talk more about your awesome project in just a second. But a few days ago, you dropped a tweet saying that you still believe that the Lakers will pull off the impossible. Now, I'm assuming you meant win an NBA championship. Now, right now, the Lakers sitting in the 9th seed. As it stands right now, they would have to win 2 games just to get that 8th seed to play the Suns. And look, I'm a glass half full guy too. My friends call me Optimus Prime, but this is big time glass half full. I want to ask you, why do you still believe the Lakers can win it all this year?
I really believe that when you make a pick, you can't just go back on your pick. So many people just go back on their pick, and so they can just
respect.
Then they want to say, hey, I think the other team is going to win. No, that's not right. You said that you thought, the Pelicans was going to win. So you gotta stick with that. Right. So that's kind of the guy. That's how I am, but for the most part, I believe that if the Lakers get in the playoffs and Anthony Davis is there, and, part of my darkness in my card, but if Anthony Davis is there, I feel like they got a shot. You know what I'm saying? I feel like with Anthony Davis, LeBron James, and, even Russell Westbrook, even though he's not playing extremely well, but in the playoffs, all you need is that first good game. you get that first win, and then you go from there.
Yeah.
And then anything can happen.
Metta, do you think a lot of the Lakers, in addition to AD and LeBron being healthy and them getting into the playoffs in that first round, is there a role player on the current Lakers roster that comes to mind that you think would need to step up a little bit in the playoffs, whether it's an Austin Reeves type or Malik Monk or one of those types of players?
I think the veterans need to be on point first. I think we need AD to play in the playoffs, and I think that's where it starts. And then it's going to filter down. Because if it don't start there, then, they won't have a shot. I think LeBron will be okay. But I think they have a shot to win some games if they can just, understand that the other team is going to score. It's going to be extremely difficult. But if you can continue to move the ball and score, it'll be hard to stop these big bodies. But the only downside is the pace. The Phoenix Suns' pace is extremely fast, extremely efficient. So it'd be very difficult. But and Chris Paul's playing incredible. But I'm a Lakers fan, and I love the Lakers, along with the Pacers and the Knicks and Kings, teams that I played for. Right? But I'm
no love for the Rockets?
And the Rockets, of course, and the Rockets. I only with the Rockets 1 year.
True.
But I love the Rockets.
Hey, you almost beat the Lakers by yourself with the Rockets.
Took them to 7, man.
I had to ask.
Went down.
It was a good series.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're a Laker at heart, man. You played most years with the Lakers, man. You bleed purple and gold. You won that championship. And I was going to ask you, look, we all know you were the best defensive player on the planet. You're one of the best defensive players in the history of the game. Now, I want to ask you about that side of the floor. What do you think the Lakers are lacking most on the defensive end? Is it lack of effort? Is it scheme? Is it personnel? Can they play harder? I want your take on basically what the Lakers are doing on the defensive side of the floor and how they can fix it.
And it's just shell defense. It's an easy fix. It's not complicated, But I think sometimes without practice, I mean, the Lakers were struggling with practice earlier. Guys were really hurt, so it's really hard to build that timing. Defense is all about timing on individually and as a team. And I don't think they were able to build that timing, which led to sometimes maybe a lack of trust. You can see some guys not really wanting to go help because they don't know if they're going to get help.
Yeah.
So, it just takes a little bit of that. But I think with the injuries, it really hurt them.
Yeah, the injuries have really decimated him this year. But you mentioned Russell Westbrook just a second ago, and I want to ask you about that. Because, look, in 2010, you were the big offseason acquisition. That offseason, heading into that, they signed you to that deal. You replaced Trevor Ariza, essentially, in his role. But you're Ron Artest, one of the best players in the league at the time. Lots of pressure, putting on that purple and gold uniform. But you win a championship in your first season, like the Lakers had hoped to do with Russell Westbrook. So I wanted your take on Russ. Do you think that the pressure of being a Laker is starting to affect him? And what adjustment do you think he needs to make to really help this team win a championship? Like, do you think that he can still put it all together for a run?
Yeah, I think he's only 32 or 31, maybe something like that. So he still has a lot in the tank. He has a really strong personality, and you got to really get to that. And I think once you get to that and understand that, the personalities are going to mix, then you can get Russell, I think, to really play. I think he loves the game of basketball. He's passionate. And I think he could play way better. I don't think he's done. And I don't think he's washed up. I think he can play better. And he's playing great. He's just, he's turned the ball over a little bit. And sometimes he's not playing defense all the time. But with that being said, he is getting a lot of triple doubles. He's scoring the ball, which is really difficult to do. I mean, to get stats in the NBA is not easy. I don't care what people say, patch your stats or whatever. But I think it's things he can do that can make him effective. And I think he has a lot of upside towards the end of his career.
Yeah, man, I agree with you 100%. I mean, he can still contribute. It's just he set the standard so high in his career, what he's been able to do. But I still think, look, the injuries have been a factor. Hasn't gotten enough time with AD and LeBron to kind of build that chemistry along with some of those role players. But I want to ask you about Anthony Davis. Like I said, I want to get your opinion on AD. When healthy, do you think that Anthony Davis is the best defensive player in the world?
It's hard for me to say because when I'm watching Anthony Davis, I'm only watching his offense.
Okay.
I'm not really paying attention to his defense, but everybody's saying, like, I mean, I've seen him block shots. You see him guard the wings and different things like that. So he's a great defender, but I'm not really analyzing, his defense. I know when he's on the floor, we win. And I know, like, when he's playing well, we win. And there's a lot of other great defenders. And I didn't see enough of the other players to say if Anthony Davis is one of the best defenders, but that's what everybody else is saying. So I got to assume it's right.
Yeah. No, for sure. And then you talk about Anthony Davis, like you said, when he's on the floor, the Lakers win. The only issue is keeping him on the floor. He has dealt with injuries throughout his career. What do you make of his injuries? Is it bad luck? Does he need to change how he trains in the offseason? I mean, what do you think are the major reasons why Anthony Davis has dealt with injuries throughout his career? What do you think it is?
I think he came in a little bit heavy this year, and with that being said, that's maybe an adjustment would have to be made, giving him a little bit more time to get in shape. And I think that was probably the main reason why he got so injured. Then a couple of the injuries were freak accidents. When he had the player ran into his leg, then they fall on his ankle, or he twists his ankle. A couple of those were freak accidents. But I think if he gets in better shape and trained, I think those injuries would be far and few in between.
Good stuff. Now, I got, of course, to ask you about LeBron James. Still, to me, top 5 player, averaging almost 29, 8 and 6. He's still King James, in my opinion. But this has been a tough year for LeBron. He, like AD, has dealt with some injuries. He's trying to carry this Lakers team that struggled all season. What do you think, LeBron? Do you think that LeBron James will end his career with the Lakers? I want to know from you, where do you think LeBron will end his career?
I mean, that's hard for me to say because I don't speak to LeBron at all. So I couldn't say where he's going to end up.
Yeah.
Of course, we would love for it to be the Lakers, but I just don't know. Of course, I don't know. Hopefully the Lakers.
You've guarded LeBron. You've guarded Jordan at the tail end. You guarded prime Kobe. I mean, you were the premier on-ball defender in the league. I want to ask you, what are your Mount Rushmore when it comes to toughest players you've ever had to guard? Who are the 4 toughest players you've had to guard in the NBA? If you want to rank them, that'd be cool too. But I just want to know from you, Ron, who gave you the biggest challenges?
I mean, I'd probably say the toughest challenges in my position, I would say LeBron, Kobe, Rip Hamilton.
Nice.
LeBron, Kobe, Rip Hamilton. I mean,
I remember one time you said Brandon Roy, like before you
Brandon
got injured.
Was pretty good. Yeah, Brandon was pretty good.
I was gonna give him my cartilage.
Brandon Roy and Kevin Durant. I'll put those 2 in the same. Rip Hamilton's different. He's a worker. He's running. It's a different thing you gotta kind of address with Rip Hamilton. You gotta run. It's different from Kevin Durant, but it's the same type of pressure.
You got to chase around those screens and everything, man. That offense
easy, man.
Yeah, you guys had some serious battles, man. That Pistons team was no joke, especially when you were in Indiana. But what were some of the biggest challenges that Kobe presented as far as locking up Kobe? What were some of the biggest challenges guarding the Mamba?
R.I.P. Kobe, I think his challenges was he could do everything. He wasn't like lightning fast or super strong. He was everything. So he could go right. He could pivot left, pivot right, go right, reverse turns, can shoot the 3, mid-range, could finish. I mean, I had an issue every time I was guarding Kobe. He could do everything, which made it really, really difficult.
Do you have a Kobe trash talk story you could share, or just another Kobe story in general that maybe folks haven't heard before, or just isn't as popular in the internet?
I mean, a lot of the stuff I said was out there, but I think the main stuff was Kobe being at the gym at 5:30 in the morning. Just being at the gym and leaving, at 8 o'clock, in the car, meaning he got 2 hours of working. And I remember seeing him sometimes just exit the building, and he was there like clockwork every day, which was like really, really impressive.
Just built different, man. So yeah, did you have any strong reactions to the players, including the NBA 75 list? Like, who do you think was the biggest snub, or someone that didn't make the team that you thought maybe deserved a spot on that team? Any strong reactions from that NBA 75 list?
Well, I don't think, for me personally, I always wanted to be at that top list. I'm not going to lie, but I think like
You're in my MB 75.
Keeping all small forwards when I got Defensive Player of the Year, average a total of 6 points. I mean, I don't know who ever did that in the history of the game, and I was able to say that I did that. So I think sometimes people don't really respect the tangibles, and some people would say I'm one of the greatest defenders ever. I know a lot of people don't because they have agendas, but, that list is so inspiring. That's why I say that. I mean, when I saw that list and I seen those jackets, I rewinded my time and thought about it as a kid. And then I looked forward. I'm like, wow, I would love to be that one day. That list was probably one of the most inspiring things I've ever seen in my life. As a basketball fan, it was just a thing of beauty, man. And I think well-deserved for everybody, honestly. And it's just well-deserved. I'm just so happy for everybody.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're really splitting hairs. Everyone's elite at that point. I definitely think you deserve to spot on that list. And look, there's no question you're one of the handful of best defenders the game's ever seen. But let's jump into that rapid round. First question I'm going to ask you is one shot with everything on the line. Who do you want to have the ball in their hands? LeBron, Kobe, or MJ?
MJ.
Going MJ. Can't go wrong. Favorite rapper from Queens?
Nas.
There we go. What was the first expensive thing you bought after you signed your first NBA contract? I know you worked at Circuit City that summer, but what was the first expensive thing you bought with your first NBA contract?
I think I gave my family some money, so I didn't buy it. I just gave some money to my family. That was very expensive.
Hey, man, for sure. What was the most underrated NBA city to visit?
Most underrated? I mean, probably Denver. Denver's a great city. Beautiful, great food.
And then New York or LA?
That's a good question.
That's tough for you, I know.
I'm not going to answer that. I can't answer that.
Can't answer that? All right, cool. It's a tie. Celebrity that you were most surprised to see at a Lakers game that made you starstruck?
That's really interesting. Because there were so many celebrities. That's really, I mean, Jack Nicholson always, you can never get over Jack Nicholson.
Yeah. Can't top
But
Jack,
there's so many celebrities come to the Laker game. It's like, I don't even know how to keep counting anymore, honestly.
It's just crazy, man. Is there a current player on the Lakers or in the NBA that reminds you of yourself?
I would say people I would like to be like Kawhi Leonard.
Kawhi Leonard, nice. And then last one here. If you had the choice to be able to speak every language in the world or be able to speak to animals, which would you pick?
Language.
Language? All right, cool,
Yes.
Cool, man. Well, Cooper, if you want to tell us, how can our listeners find the shoe? How can they be a part of Blank Souls? Can you tell them how they can they get this NFT and get the actual tangible version as well?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you again to reiterate, Ray. Just thank you for having us. And Metta, thanks for joining us on this. But if anyone wants a Metta design tool, they can follow Blank Souls on Twitter or join our Discord, which is also you can access via our bio on Twitter. And then just DM us the code word Metta, that's METTA, and send us your wallet address. We're Solana based, so make sure it's not a MetaMask. But yeah, send us your wallet address and the code word Metta, and you can get yourself pair of physical sneakers. And also Raiden mentions we're offering a lot of cool other perks, like we're raffling off even the opportunity to whoever is brave enough to play a game against Metta. We're also doing a couple of other cool events, like attending NBA games with some influencers, participating in some community raffles. And we're also offering an exclusive, limited edition NFT as well after the mint goes live that unlocks other perks as well. So you're not just getting a sneaker with the Metta design tools, you're getting a lot else and the potential to actually meet the greatest NBA defensive player of all time. So
And then just Doug, just to add on for specific dates. So March 16th and March 18th are the 2 dates to mark your calendar on in terms of when the drop is actually happening. During those dates, community members will have the chance to buy the NFT of the sneaker, which you can see on Blank Soul's Twitter, on our website, on Metta's Twitter. And then about a month to month and a half after that, we will physically deliver all the shoes to each individual person.
Nice. Well, hey, man, you guys changed the game. Metta, you changed the game again with your sneakers. You crushed this project, man. I want to find out how I can get my hands on some of these. I want to rock these myself. I thank you guys so much for your time. We learned so much about NFTs. Thanks for all your insight and from your playing days on the current Lakers. You gave us some hope for this season. It's not over. I'm with you, Metta. We can still get ring number 18, but I appreciate you guys joining us here on the Lakers 24/8 podcast. Cooper, Raymond, and Metta. For Eric and everyone here at the Lakers 24/8 podcast, I want to thank you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day, and see you guys next time.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much, guys.
Take care.
Guys.
Thanks for the time.
Everyone.